Some horror movies scare you for a night, but some horror movies rewire your brain forever. These are the kinds of films that don't rely on cheap jump scares. Instead, they crawl into your mind, sit there quietly, and refuse to leave. People who watch these movies reported nightmares weeks later, anxiety attacks, and a constant feeling that something was wrong, even after the credits rolled. What makes it worse is that none of these movies explain everything. They leave gaps. And your brain hates gaps. So it keeps replaying scenes, rewriting meanings, and questioning reality. And trust me, number one on this list isn't just disturbing. It changes the way you look at your own life. Horror as a genre has evolved. We've moved past masked killers and loud jump scares into something far more dangerous: psychological horror. The movies on this list don't attack your eyes. They attack your thoughts. They use silence, symbolism, trauma, and existential dread to create fear that lingers long after the movie ends. You don't just watch these films, you experience them. This is not a list of the goriest or most violent horror movies. These are the movies that mess with your mind forever. Let's begin. At first glance, The Babadook looks like a typical monster movie. A creepy children's book. A shadowy figure. Strange noises in the dark. But the real horror isn't the monster. It's grief. The movie slowly reveals that the Babadook is not just a creature stalking a family, it's a physical manifestation of unresolved trauma and depression. The mother's mental state deteriorates as the film progresses, and the scariest part is how real it feels. Parents watching this film often report feeling deeply uncomfortable, not because of what they see, but because of what they recognize. The exhaustion, the resentment, the guilt of emotions you're not supposed to admit. The Babadook doesn't disappear at the end. It gets locked away, and that's the point. The movie suggests that trauma never truly leaves. It just learns to stay quiet. And once you understand that, the film never feels the same again. Hereditary is one of those movies that feels cursed. From the opening shot, there's a sense that everything is already doomed. No matter what the characters do, they're trapped in a fate designed long before the story begins. The film disguises itself as a family drama, grief, loss, mental illness, before pulling the rug out completely. One shocking scene in particular left audiences silent in theaters, not screaming, just stunned. What truly messes with your mind is the realization that free will never existed in this story. Every choice, every tragedy, every breakdown was part of something larger and far more sinister. Even after the movie ends, viewers report constantly rethinking earlier scenes, discovering hidden symbols, background details, and clues that reveal how manipulated the characters truly were. Hereditary doesn't just scare you. It makes you feel powerless. And that's a terrifying thought to live with. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is not just a horror movie. It's a psychological puzzle that has obsessed people for decades. On the surface, it's a story about isolation and madness. But beneath that surface lies something far more disturbing. The hotel doesn't just haunt Jack Torrance, it absorbs him. The slow descent into insanity feels inevitable, as if the building itself has a memory and a hunger. What truly messes with viewers is how nothing is explained. The ghosts don't follow rules. Time feels broken. Characters appear and disappear without logic. This lack of clarity forces your brain to search for meaning. And people have. For over 40 years, there are entire documentaries dedicated to decoding The Shining. Some believe it's about genocide. Others say it's about abuse, alcoholism, or even hidden confessions by Kubrick himself. Once you go down that rabbit hole, you can never watch the movie the same way again. Mulholland Drive doesn't scare you in a traditional way. It confuses you. The film unfolds like a dream, or more accurately, a nightmare you don't realize you're having until it's too late. Characters shift identities. Events contradict each other. Reality collapses quietly. Many viewers finish the movie feeling frustrated until the realization hits. The story isn't meant to be understood logically. It's emotional, psychological, fragmented, just like a broken mind. Once you understand the central idea, guilt, regret, and shattered ambition, the movie becomes devastating. Scenes that once felt random suddenly feel tragic. The scariest part is how accurately it portrays self-deception, the lies we tell ourselves to survive. Mulholland Drive doesn't scream. It whispers, and that whisper stays with you for a very long time. This is not a movie you casually recommend, and once you watch it, you'll understand why. Martyrs is brutal, but not for shock value. Every act of violence serves a purpose, slowly guiding the audience toward one horrifying philosophical question. Is suffering the key to understanding the afterlife? The film strips away hope, layer by layer. Characters endure unimaginable pain, not because they're evil, but because someone believes there is meaning in agony. What truly destroys viewers isn't the violence, it's the ending. A single whispered sentence that is never revealed. And that unanswered mystery forces your mind to fill in the blanks. Was there truth? Was it a lie? Was it worth it? Many people regret watching Martyrs. Not because it's bad, but because it permanently alters the way they think about pain, faith, and purpose. Once this movie gets into your head, it never fully leaves. Horror movies end, but the fear doesn't always leave with them. The movies on this list don't rely on monsters hiding in the dark. They expose the monsters already living inside us: grief, guilt, obsession, and the fear that reality isn't as stable as we believe. If you've seen any of these films, you know the feeling. That quiet moment after the credits roll, where everything feels slightly off. And if you haven't watched them yet, maybe there's a reason. So tell me, which of these movies messed with your mind the most? And which one would you never watch again? That is a haunting